Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the NUS Residential and Student Live Sharing webinar. I'm Alex, and I'll be your MC for today. Thank you for taking time to join us. The sharing you will hear this evening will be presented by the Dean of Admissions, Professor Goh Say Song, Associate Provost of Integrated Education, Associate Professor Wong Mun Loke, and Dean of Students, Associate Professor Ho Han Kiat. After their presentations, there will be a sharing of the various NUS accommodation types by 3 NUS students, followed by the Q&A segment. If you have any questions, we would greatly appreciate it if you could please write them down in the Q&A tab below, and we will answer them during the Q&A session. You may also feel free to use the upvote button in the Q&A tab to vote for the queries or topics you would like us to cover during the live Q&A, or use the reaction button. It is a heart-shaped button at the bottom of the screen to react to the topics shared in the discussion today. Allow me to begin by introducing our speakers tonight. Prof. Goh is a mathematician by training. He received his honors bachelor's degree from the University of Oxford in 1988 and his MSc and PhD degrees from the University of Michigan, Ann Arbor, in 1990 and 1992, respectively. He joined NUS's Department of Mathematics in 1994. He is highly passionate about education and has received numerous teaching awards, including the University Outstanding Educator Award in 2009. His research interests focus on the theory and applications of wavelets, approximation theory, and harmonic analysis. He also participates in interdisciplinary research involving the practical use of mathematics. Associate Professor Wong Mun Loke is the Associate Provost, Integrated Education at NUS, and the Vice Dean of Education at the Faculty of Dentistry. After graduating with his Bachelor of Dental Surgery degree from NUS, Prof. Wong worked in the Health Promotion Board for over 10 years, where he was engaged in clinical dental services for the school-going population and health promotion efforts across the lifespan. Following his postgraduate training in dental public health, Prof. Wong returned to teach part-time in his alma mater in 2003. A decade later, he joined the university full-time, where he is actively engaged in the delivery of the Bachelor of Dental Surgery program. In the Faculty of Dentistry, Prof. Wong anchors the teaching in dental public health and behavioral science, as well as contributes to research in various areas, including oral health and educational pedagogy. More recently, Prof. Wong, in his role as Associate Provost, is looking into how academic programs and informal out-of-classroom curricula can complement one another to offer students an enhanced, holistic educational experience in higher education. Associate Professor Ho Han Kiat is the Dean of Admissions at the National University of Singapore and an academic staff of the Department of Pharmacy. He received his Bachelor of Science in Pharmacy with first-class honors, along with the Lee Kuan Yew Gold Medal and Chalmers Medal as the top graduate. Prof. Ho became one of the pioneer recipients of the A-Star Overseas Graduate Scholarship and obtained his PhD in medicinal chemistry from the University of Washington. Over the years as a faculty member, he has published more than 90 papers in internationally recognized journals and has won multiple university-level teaching excellence awards, including the Outstanding Educator Award in 2020. He was also recently recognized for his research by winning the 2020 Distinguished Alumni Award for Excellence in Pharmaceutical Sciences and Research, conferred by the University of Washington School of Pharmacy. Without further ado, let us begin the session. Prof. Goh, please.
Thank you, and a very warm welcome to all of you. Our warmest congratulations for having an offer to NUS in one of our degree program, as well as the returning NS men who are going to join us in 2026. So let me now get my slides up, and then we'll get this webinar going. And a warm welcome to all of you again to NUS. Now, this is a webinar that actually we bring various units together from NUS 1 to Office of Student Affairs about residential life and student life. And this is one of those webinars that will actually help to answer many questions that you will have. And please feel free to type your question on the Q&A tab. And as we go along the presentation, if there are certain topics that you are very interested in, feel free to use the emoji to signal to us, and later on during the Q&A segment, we will address this accordingly. So let me first come to the NUS experience. All of you will be coming into NUS in either this year or the next 2 years, and all of you will be given admission, has been given admission to one of our more than 60 bachelor's degree program. Now, from this academic point of view, your home faculty or your department would be engaging you and tell you a lot more about the academics. So today, we are going to focus on something that is not about the academic curriculum of NUS, but on the non-academic curriculum of NUS. Learning is beyond academics. So there are 4 aspects that will actually give you a holistic and comprehensive NUS experience. One of them is our vibrant student life with more than 200 clubs and societies and interest groups on campus. Another aspect that you may find it that it will actually enhance your NUS experience, that is on-campus stay. We have 4 types of on-campus accommodation spreading over 18 different locations on campus. And we also want our students to have global exposure, to have a global perspective. We have more than 350 partner universities in over 40 countries that you can go for student exchange or take part in one of the summer and winter programs. Last but not least, although you say that you have not started your NUS journey, let's look ahead and let's look at your career preparation. Experiential learning through internship is something that many of you are thinking of as well. Now, in your registration of the webinar, although that today's main topic will be student life and residential life, I will cover briefly about global exposure and internships as well. The first thing that I want to talk about is NUS 1. NUS 1 is essentially about leveraging out of classroom experience. Yes, we have learning in the classroom for the academic curriculum. For the non-academic curriculum, namely student life, residential life, global opportunities, internship or experiential learning or work attachment. This is another aspect of learning that we are going to talk about how this can actually support you through the framework of NUS 1. This will facilitate you to have a smooth transition to university. It will build up your opportunities to have a holistic experience, and which allows you to self-discover and develop further. My colleague, Associate Professor Wong, he will tell you more about this. And how about study abroad programs? Now, NUS, as I've already mentioned, we have more than 350 partner universities over 40 countries. Many of you would like to see the world, to gain a global perspective when at a university. In NUS, this is definitely possible. While many of you may feel that, the tuition fees in an overseas university is very expensive, but if you go for 1 semester exchange or even up to 1 year exchange in the partner university, due to the student exchange program arrangement, you will still be paying NUS tuition fees, and that is heavily subsidized by the government. And at the same time, before you go, there will be an academic advisor in your home faculty. They will map the courses that you will take in the partner universities can be mapped back towards your graduation requirements. Some of you may find that going for 1 semester is too long. You can still have a sense about studying in another university, in another culture, through the summer and winter programs. 4 to 6 weeks, and you can take one of the courses there during the summer vacation or the winter vacation. Some of you are thinking about doing research in an overseas country. that you can go through the research attachment program, that you can work in one of the renowned research lab and mentored by world-class researchers. Other students may be thinking about entrepreneurship. We have a uniquely NUS program called NUS Overseas Colleges, and this enables you to actually spend some time, several months to up to a year in one of the startup, in one of the places that we have the NUS Overseas Colleges, and in the daytime, you'll be an intern at the startup, and then at night, you'll take classes in the partner university about entrepreneurship, and there are more than 15 places all over the world that you can go for the NUS Overseas Colleges. This program, we have been running for more than 25 years, and through that 25 years, more than 4,000 students have gone through this program, and through the process, more than 1,000 companies have been founded. How about internship opportunities? Internship opportunities, we have university-wide internship pathway. It could be a local internship, it could be an overseas internship, and it could be credit-bearing, or it can also be non-credit-bearing. Credit-bearing internships could be one of those that's administered by your home faculty, or it could be something administered by our Center for Future Ready Graduates, which is the Vacation Internship Program. Or you can even do an internship for credit bearing under the NUS Overseas Colleges Program. Non-credit internship, it could be something that you source yourself, or you can also go for vacation internship through our Talent Connect portal. And all these will actually help you to grow holistically. And if you look at the internship, based on the data on our NUS class of 2024, 90% of them actually have done at least one internship. Some students have done 2 or even 3 internships. And internship, many students, 85% of the students found them useful. And in fact, 40% of the students who have gone for internship were offered conversion to full-time roles. So this is something that you can definitely think about as you enrich your NUS experience. And in terms of student life, we have a very vibrant student life. If you're interested in music, arts, culture, community service, sports, or you want to found your own interest group, these are all possible. You will be able to connect with like-minded peers who will challenge you, cheer you on, and make your NUS experience unforgettable. I'll let my colleague, the Dean of Students, Associate Professor Ho, will tell you a lot more about this. And in terms of on-campus accommodation, you'll be spoiled for choice. We have actually 4 different types of on-campus accommodations. In particular, we have 6 halls of residences, 5 residential colleges, 4 houses. What are their differences? I'll let Prof. Ho, as well as 3 of our student representatives, to tell you more about it. There are 2 others that I just want to mention. One is NUS College. For those of you who have an admission offer to NUS College, NUS College is a faculty on its own, and it has its unique curriculum of 13 courses, which will be incorporated with 2 years of on-campus stay. NUS College will reach out to you separately in terms of your on-campus stay in the first year. And for students who are in the second year and beyond, there's another residential options called student residences. And that one, you have the opportunity to have rich cultural exchange with the diverse community staying there. Now, some of you may be thinking about, I want to apply for on-campus accommodation. I'm not familiar with the campus, and I'm not familiar about the location of these accommodations or the location of my home faculty. Not to worry, we have an NUS campus 360 degrees virtual tour, especially the students here who are tuning in from overseas. Do take a look at this, and you will actually find pictures and about the different on-campus accommodations and about the campus. And for some students will feel that, staying on campus, this will actually incur additional costs. For students who are financially needy, not to worry, we do have bursaries and grants for undergraduate students to stay on campus. It is our dream that all undergraduate students will have an opportunity to stay on campus for at least 1 year. Now, in terms of the bursaries, we have what we call the residential program bursary. For Singapore citizens, and the quantum can be from $600 to $4,650. These are for students who stay on campus in, let's say, the halls of residence or the houses. If you're staying in the residential college, you can apply for the residential college bursary, which have a quantum of up to $5,000 a year, again, depending on the financial needs and the nationality of the applicant. The residential program bursary or the residential college bursary will cover quite a substantial portion of the cost for the on-campus stay, but they do not cover everything. Now, for students with per capita income that is up to $750, not to worry, there is an additional grant that is available under the NUS Enhanced Financial Aid Scheme called the Opportunity Enhancement Grant. This is a $10,000 grant that is valid for 4 years in the candidature for students, Singapore citizen students with PCI not more than $750. Whatever shortfall that the residential program bursary or residential college bursary that is not able to cover for you, you can use the Opportunity Enhancement Grant to do a top up so that you can actually have a full coverage on your on-campus stay. The Opportunity Enhancement Grant, it can also be used to top out the bursaries that we have for overseas programs. Last but not least, the various halls of residence at residential colleges with their long tradition, they have attracted generous donations from former occupants or from donors that they have their own bursaries and grants as well. So in short, we are here to support you. And if you have further questions, feel free to write in to us at nus.edu/us-admissions. And for some of you who wanted to find out about how is it like to be an NUS student, you can also go to nus.edu/live chat that from Monday to Friday during office hours, we will have a real NUS students manning the live chat and you can ask questions to find out more about the university. Thank you very much. And I'll now pass the time over to Prof. Wong to tell you more about NUS 1. Over to you, Prof. Wong.
Thank you, Professor Goh. So just allow me to share my slide deck. Yes, so thank you once again, Professor Goh, and a very good evening to all our participants, and we appreciate your presence with us on this webinar this evening. So many of you are entering into a very exciting season of your life as you plan your higher education journey. And once again, like Prof. Goh said, congratulations on being offered a spot within NUS. This evening, we would like to share some highlights on how you can enrich and enhance your university journey in NUS. Well, your university experience is much more than the degree. It provides you with many chances for you to develop yourself as well as to grow through the many different opportunities for holistic education, which will take place within as well as beyond the classroom. And this is precisely the impetus for the NUS 1 philosophy, one which not only focuses on the academics, but also goes beyond it. Together with what happens within the classroom through the academic curriculum, the non-academic curriculum also provides an opportunity for you to develop yourself to become more future ready, to take on the complexities and possibly the challenges that you will face after graduation. So the reality is that we need to prepare. We need to be prepared and ready to operate in environments which are filled with constant changes, not only constant changes, but changes that take place very rapidly. And because of the rapid changes, sometimes we also need to contend with uncertainties, which then requires us to navigate the complexities around us. So this is where the holistic educational experience will be very pivotal. So NUS 1 as a philosophy really helps our students develop themselves through the holistic educational experience to prepare them for the present educational experience as well as the future demands of a complex world. What exactly does it look like? So we believe in providing all our students with a holistic university experience that, first of all, focuses on knowledge mastery as well as domain expertise. So this is where, through your chosen program of study, will develop yourselves in terms of your domain expertise, your knowledge mastery, so that when you graduate, you'll be able to contribute in these domain expert areas. Besides the academics, we also believe in developing a set of skills. These skills are often deemed as life skills which will not only be useful during your time in university, but also after you have graduated. One of which is the ability to relate with one another through effective interpersonal skills. This means being able to work together as a team, being able to engage with others, being able to communicate and articulate your ideas such that you can lead as well as influence others within the same team. Beyond interpersonal skills, the ability to pick one's intellectual inquiry is important. So, this is where skills such as critical thinking, innovation, design thinking become very important cognitive skills, which will complement your knowledge mastery as well as domain expertise. Another area which we believe is important for all our students to develop themselves in is this sense of self awareness as well as management. The ability to develop ourselves as effective individuals anchored upon professional values, personal values, and ethics is critical. And last but not least, the ability to adapt to changing environments, the ability to be resilient, positivity are also important values which will help us be able to withstand the challenges as well as the changes that we are likely to face in the real world. Last but not least, we also seek to provide all our students with a comprehensive global outlook. What this basically means is the ability for our students to look beyond what they have learned to be able to apply these in a regional, global setting so that they too can contribute to the wider sort of global initiatives to address various issues that they will encounter. So therefore, NUS One seeks to provide all our students with a holistic university experience, and we do this through a couple of ways. One of which is we will provide all our students with the opportunity to engage and explore areas of interest which they may have started developing or they may be totally new to. So in a while, my colleague Professor Ho will speak to you about the range of activities which will be available to help all our students discover their hidden talents and also to sharpen their interest in these activities so that they can become better at them as well. Apart from engaging in exploring new activities, we also believe in helping our students develop themselves to their fullest potential. This is where we will have programs which will develop their personal capacities, whether it's in the area of interpersonal skills, communication. These are areas which we will provide programs and opportunities as well as activities for our students to engage in, to grow as well as to develop themselves and become more empowered. Last but not least, we also believe that our students should also have the opportunity to impact and serve the wider community in which they live in, and also be able to make a difference within the communities based on whatever they have learned in terms of their knowledge, in terms of their expertise. And this will really create opportunities for them to engage with the wider community beyond the university. So therefore, the NUS One holistic journey in terms of education will provide all our students with an excellent opportunity, comprehensive enough for them to learn and grow beyond the classroom setting. So NUS One as a whole will seek to prepare our students to enter into university, to have a smooth start to university. And we do this through various sort of programs which will help our students transition smoothly into higher education at the start of their university education. We will also provide a journey as well as various pathways for our students to develop themselves through self-discovery as they explore different programs, different interest areas that they may have, which will allow them not only to have a good experience within the classroom setting, but also broaden their perspectives through what we call interactions beyond the classroom. Last but not least, we hope that through the holistic educational experience, our students will also be able to graduate with a narrative that not only features their academic accomplishments, but also their accomplishments beyond the classroom to develop life skills, which will definitely accompany them a long way to help them flourish, not only within university, but also in the life ahead after graduation. So in a while, I will hand over the time to Professor Ho, who will go into some of the details with regard to some of these activities which we have available and planned for our students as they enter into their holistic educational experience beyond the classroom. So with that, I'll hand over the time to Professor Ho.
Good evening, prospective students. Very happy to be here to be among the first to welcome you to NUS. So I joined my colleagues, Prof. Wong and Prof. Goh, in this webinar. And maybe first of all, let me introduce myself again. My name is Ho Han Kiat. Other than my role as a Dean of Students, I am from the Department of Pharmacy and Pharmaceutical Science, where I teach as well as do different types of research related to pharmaceuticals. Now, as a Dean of Students, the question that I get most often is, what does a Dean of Students do in a university? And my simple answer is that my role is to take care of students beyond the classroom. Because what takes place beyond the classroom matters a lot as part of holistic education that Prof. Wong has already spoken about. But where his role distinguishes from mine is that Prof. Wong's office oversee the entire educational philosophy, whereby holistic education is the way we approach learning, teaching and learning for every student. Whereas in my office, which I work through with the Office of Student Affairs, we are here to create all the nuts and bolts to make student life come alive and to complete the equation for holistic education. Now, let me talk a little bit more about our perspective of student life and why we think it matters. You have already heard from Prof. Wong about holistic education and how the whole idea of NUS 1 enshrine this education philosophy across everything that we do. So this is where I believe that the student life address the softer side of education. Softer, but equally important. Because if you think about it this way, today, the advancement in education technology, digital transformation for education, and of course, most of all, AI, all these have impacted learning and teaching in many ways, to an extent where people question if it is possible to eliminate a physical university totally, because it seems that everything about learning can be done online or through different devices. But I would challenge that thinking because at least one important aspect of holistic education at this point in time still cannot be replaced by AI. And I will call that student life. And I call this the indomitable soul of the university. It is not the flesh of the university, which is the academic programs, but it is the soul of the university that is equally important, because this is where you pick up intangible aspects of learning, where you build important values that you can take into your own future, and you learn how to connect with different people socially, and with that you can help to construct a future community that you can count your own. This is where many other important life skills take center stage. So therefore, we value learning beyond the classroom, and we want to also shape your mental and physical well-being through social connectivity, so that with all of these opportunities put together, you can define your uniquely NUS learning experience and become a contributing member in the future. Now, how do we go about doing this? Well, student life activities refers to co-curricular programs in general. And this comes along many different tangents. For example, we have more than 200 CCA groups that represent different clubs and societies, as well as interest groups. This cut across both faculty-based interest groups as well as non-faculty-based. And for various interest groups, most of them were groups that were started many years ago based on the initiative of students and the student leaders. And with time, these programs gain traction. They find staff advisors to support them, and the university see the longevity and the importance of this program, and we continue to support them until today. So therefore, they exist because students want to do them. And we are there to work with them to ensure that all the programs that they put together continue to be meaningful and also aligned with the overall educational philosophy and learning outcomes that we have as an institution. Now, besides the interest groups, I also want to highlight sports as well as arts and culture. I count these two areas as the twin pillar of co-curricular development. Through sports, you can build character such as strength, resilience, teamwork. And in terms of arts and culture, that's where you gain the appreciation of beauty, creativity, and also precision. So therefore, these are really opportunities and platforms where you can gain additional skill sets that will take you much further than just the academic training. So therefore, we do not see this just simply as a good to have. And to some extent, some level of appreciation or experience with sports as well as arts and culture will take you further than just the academic programs alone. And to create enough entry points for everybody to participate in this, for both art, sports, as well as arts and culture, we have different levels of engagement. There will be opportunity for someone who has no experience in any of the sports form to take part in entry-level appreciation activities, to have a first taste of what it means to be engaging in a certain sports activity. You can learn about frisbee, you can learn to swim, you can learn to dive, you can try rock climbing for the very first time. In terms of arts and culture, likewise, there are also many entry-level activities, or simply to attend a few concerts and performances to appreciate art in a way that you haven't done before. And for arts and culture, over the years, we have also developed higher level opportunity where you can take this expertise to a performance level. In fact, as of 3 years ago, we also created additional second major or minor opportunities in performing arts, whereby you can also, regardless of which major you are part of, you can still take 1 or 2 courses in arts and culture, which will then add on to the unrestricted electives that you can complete as part of your educational journey. Now, other than all these co-curricular activities, as a university, we emphasize on community engagement. Because as a university, we see ourselves as one that was founded by the community, and therefore giving back to the same community is part of our core value. So through my office at the Office of Student Affairs, we create opportunities where students can come up with their own ideas of community engagement, or they can participate in existing one, such as the Teach Singapore program that we have here, where we train our students and we bring them out to become mentors for other primary or secondary students that may come from a slightly less privileged background. And community to us is not just external, but it is also about creating the acceptance, the cohesion and diversity of our internal NUS community. And this is where we bring people of different background together to have social interaction, create opportunity for them to understand each other's culture, beliefs, and to foster that type of understanding. And many of these are supported by additional funding and resources that students can apply for so that they can branch off to do different programs based on their own interests and initiatives. As NUS is a very diverse community, we also recognize that for the many international students in our midst, they will need additional help for them to settle in this new community as quickly as possible so that they can all get to the same starting point for learning as soon as they come on board as a student. So since 3 years ago, we also have an international student coordinating office to facilitate the induction and the onboarding of international students. And in fact, those programs begin with a pre-arrival program where we engage students online as we have some of the host current students to start to prepare the incoming students for what are the things they can expect within the first week of arrival. So we hope that with these efforts, it will help new students transit better so that they are more ready with their education at the get-go. And generally, for all students, at some point in time, there may be students who may face different types of challenges. And therefore, we are mindful that it is also important for us to have a strong enough safety net so that we can help to address and to prevent any of these challenges from escalating. And the layer of support here is multi-level. At the faculty levels, for respective schools and faculties, we have student wellness manager, which are immediate touch points that the students can reach out to for academic as well as non-academic matters. We also have residential wellness managers that are based at at each of the hostel to provide a more proximal support so that they can even be there to support them even off office hours. And I think one of the most powerful support system that we have is when we have peer students supporting each other. Because this is where you can really create that a multiplier effect in terms of the network of support. Because imagine if each student can support 3 or 4 other students, then everyone can be helped to some extent. In addition to the support for students through the different layers of managers and peer support, there are also other infrastructures that are already in place. For example, across all the different faculties, as well as centrally located at my office, we have what we call pit stops. Pit stops are physical location for students to just unwind when they are in between classes. And there are also managers as well as peer student supporters that are based at some of these pit stops to just be a person that you can talk to if you need some support when such situation arise. We run regular programs, wellness programs as preventive measures so that it can help people improve on their own self-care, to become more self-aware and to understand any issues at the earlier possible instance. Once a year, we also run a wellness festival, which is in October of each year. And that's where a whole cluster of activities will take place across the whole university and for people to participate at their own convenience. Now, I have spoken a lot of all the different co-curricular opportunities as well as support system. How do you go about finding out on any of this? Well, every year in August, we have a student life fair that's organized by our NUS Student Union. And this is the 2-day event whereby every co-curricular group will put up a little booth at the university town and to showcase what they have. And this will be a good chance for you to have a taste of what the university has to offer in terms of student life. So at the end of the day, we hope that amidst the whole plethora of opportunities, every student will be able to find at least 1 or 2 things that speaks clearly to them that you would like to be engaged in as a member or just to participate on occasions. Now, I come to the centerpiece of my discussion, and which is residential life. And I believe this is also a subject that is on many people's mind. Well, first of all, what is our philosophy about residential life? Is it just to provide a roof over the head for those who need it? Actually, no. From NUS education perspective, we see residential life as a very good opportunity where holistic development of individuals can take place. And this is because students who stay on campus are going to spend a lot of time, extended amount of time in a hostel environment. In fact, more so than within the classroom. Therefore, we believe that this is the perfect touch point where students can continue to learn in a different atmosphere and perhaps a more an inviting atmosphere where they feel that they are not just learning together with classmates, but they are learning with friends and neighbors. So therefore, in order to encourage students to participate actively in residential life as part of holistic education, we've created different housing model. Different housing model with the hope that there will be at least one model that will fit your preferred type of living experience. So this is where I will describe a little bit more about the 4 different housing model. We have actually produced a video a few years ago, and if you can scan this QR code, take the next few seconds to do so, and park that aside, and you can view the video at your own pace. But for now, let me give you a quick snapshot on the 4 different housing options that we have. Well, we have the halls of residence, and there are 6 different halls, and these are hostels with the longest tradition in the university. In fact, one of the hostel, King Edward VII Hall, has been around for more than 100 years. And the idea of a hall of residence is that it creates opportunity for very vibrant co-curricular activities as opportunities for students to participate in. And this include a whole range of sports as well as arts and culture opportunities, plus additional ones that the different hostel may create for their own residents. And because they have been around for a long time, the unique selling point of the halls of residence is also the rich heritage that they preserve through many years of alumni that continue to give back to that same community. So therefore, being in that community gives you a sense of history and that you are part of a legacy that continue to live on to today. And the current residents will continue to shape the legacy of the hostel moving forward. And that's the excitement of being in a halls of residence. Residential colleges is a newer addition that started about 15 years ago. Residential colleges emphasizes on that in addition to your main education, the residential environment is a place where you can continue to learn additional academic domains that is unique and different from what you learn in your majors. So different residential colleges, each one will represent a different thematic of academic learning. So depending on your interest, you can pick one that you are most closely aligned with. And in the comfort of the space that's provided in the hostel, you can learn together with your neighbors. For example, in the College of Alice and Peter Tan, that college focuses a lot on community service as a form of learning. Whereas in Residential College 4, later we will hear from Louis, well, they are known to focus on system thinking as well as entrepreneurship. Next, we also have a different model that is called the house model. Well, this is also a relatively recent addition to the slew of hostel opportunities that we have. The selling point of the house model are twofold. One, unlike the halls of residence and the residential colleges, the houses do not have compulsory meal plan. In fact, there is no meal plan, and the idea is to give the residents the opportunity to experience eating around the campus and to gather in smaller groups among their neighbors so that you can create that opportunity to do more ground-up activities on your own. So therefore, that creates space for students to co-create and to innovate and to try out different things that are ground up rather than top down. It is also an environment that through that ground up approach allows students to take more responsibility in supporting each other. So this is where peer mentorship is one of the strong signature of the houses as well as proactive pastoral care. Finally, we have the student residences. While these are not applicable for freshmen, but it is good for me to complete the picture by sharing with you that this is yet another housing option. The unique selling point of the student residences is that this is the only housing type where undergraduate co-live with graduate students. Therefore, this creates a unique opportunity where you can really learn across different background. As you can imagine that the graduate students, many of them are international students themselves, will have different sets of experience to share and to exchange with the local students. And because of the wider age gap, one of the way we manage this is that we also want our local students to be more mature before they participate as living in this environment. And that's why this is only reserved for second year students and onward. I know I've spoken a lot, so I will sort of end off here by showing you a quick snapshot As a summary of what I've spoken, this highlights all the different features of the different housing type. Well, the long story short is this: there is no perfect housing type. And the reason why we maintain different housing options is so that we hope that across this diversity of options, every student will be able to find at least one type that really fit your preferred mode of living. Because only when you enjoy where you stay, it would become and transform into a place where you can also learn effectively. So with this, I will stop my sharing at this point because I think you will be more eager to hear from the extra residents who can share with you from their own lived experiences what it means to stay in NUS campus. Thank you very much.
Thank you, professors, for your sharing. I would now like to introduce the various accommodation options and have especially invited three NUS students, Ian, Emilia, and Louis, to share with us today. Ian is a second-year student from the College of Humanities and Sciences under the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences, double majoring in Chinese Studies and Chinese Language. A resident of Raffles Hall since year one, she has been actively involved in hall life, serving as project head for the Raffles Hall Orientation Camp. She now takes on the role of Vice President, External, overseeing orientation initiatives and hall publicity, and contributing to the hall's outreach and community engagement. Emilia is a third-year student, also from the College of Humanities and Sciences and the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences, majoring in history with a minor in political science. She currently serves as a residential assistant at Vela House, where she provides pastoral care for residents and leads her cluster committee in planning meaningful community activities and events. Beyond her residential role, Emilia is the Deputy Academics Director at the NUS History Society. As a varsity rugby player, she appreciates how Vela House's sports-centered culture has supported her athletic journey and thrives in a community of driven, active individuals who share her love for sport. Louis is a second-year student from the NUS Business School, majoring in accountancy and also a resident of Residential College or RC4. Last year, he served as the Vice Project Director of RC4 Opened House, and this year he is the President of RC4's 11th College Students Committee. He is passionate about sports and has participated in 7 inter-college game sports this year. He also loves music, especially piano, and has performed on stage and organized a classical music event in RC4. Above all, he enjoys organizing events and creating meaningful experiences that bring the RC4 community together. To start off, I would like to invite Ian to share about halls of residences at NUS. Ian, please.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Ian, a current year 2 student majoring in Chinese Studies, and I'm also a resident of Raffles Hall. So before I begin, I would like to congratulate you guys. As you guys step into this new chapter filled with possibilities, for many of us, university is not just about academics, but also about growth and learning how to navigate adulthood. And I think for me, these 4 years are defined just as much by student life as they are by academic pursuits. And in this case, residential life, especially hall life, plays a huge role in shaping that experience. It offers much more than just a place to stay, and it really is where university life opens up beyond the classroom. So as you enter into university, there are many pathways ahead of you, each offering a different version of who you might become. Of course, academic pursuits remains important, but hall provides a space where people grow, not just as students, but as individuals as well. And here in NUS, halls of residence have a long-standing history and culture. With that being said, entering a hall means becoming part of a community with strong traditions, shared identity, and a network that extends beyond your time here in university. A big part of the hall life is the wide range of activities, co-curriculum activities, and events that it provides. Beyond accommodation, hall also offers opportunities in sports, arts, culture, and many more. So whether you want to continue something you already enjoy or try something completely new, there's always a platform to get involved. So in my first year, I joined several CCAs and committees. Through this, I pick up skills such as stage light design and video editing, despite having little or no prior experience in it. And I think that's something that I really appreciate about hall as well. You don't need to be experienced to start. As long as you have an interest, there will always be people around you to guide and support you. In my case, I also took on the role of project director for Raffles Hall Orientation Camp in my first year. The camp itself involves more than 300 freshmen. And with little experience managing such a large-scale event, it was honestly quite daunting at first. But through the process and the support of my peers, I've grew tremendously. And the photo that you're seeing here was actually taken at the end of the camp, and it was something that I still hold very close to my heart. To me, this captures what hall life is really about. Friends supporting one another, working towards a shared goal, and passing down a sense of legacy and camaraderie. Through experiences like this, hall CCAs and committees becoming much more than just the activities themselves. They are spaces where we learn about leadership, confidence, and how we look out for one another through this journey. Things that may not always be taught in lectures, but are just as important in shaping who we are. At the same time, hall is also about community. These are the 4 years where many of us form lifelong friendships and create memories that we carry with us after graduation. In hall, you will be surrounded by people from different backgrounds, each bringing their own perspective and experiences. And it brings people from different walks of life together. Over time, this creates a strong sense of belonging. So in my second year, I joined the Junior Common Room Committee here in Raffles Hall. And through that, I created many meaningful memories even beyond hall. We spend countless hours working together, growing together, and we play even harder. And it's through laughter and countless memories, we stand by each other as we go through this journey together. As we all know, university lives can be challenging, not just physically, but mentally as well. Learning how to navigate adulthood may not always be easy, but the people in hall are often the ones that support you and help you through these moments. While some memories come from large-scale events and celebrating big milestones, many of the most meaningful ones actually come from small, everyday moments. From the late night study sessions, spontaneous suppers, or simple conversation after a long day. This hour often makes hall feels home. So when we talk about hall life, it is important for us to recognize that it is more than just an accommodation. It is a space full of opportunities, connections, and experiences. This is where students learn about balancing their independence with community, responsibility, enjoyment, and academic with personal growth. And for many of us, this place has truly become the home away from home. Of course, all these above are just snippets of what residential life entails. But if this aligns with what you're looking out for, do make sure you check out all the residential life offers here in NUS. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name's Amelia and I'm a Year 3 history major with a minor in political science. And before I begin, I just want to say congratulations to everyone and a warm welcome to you. Starting university is a big deal, and I hope that this new chapter of life brings you everything you hope for and more. Today, I'm here to share a little more about houses, what they are, what life inside one actually feels like, and why they might just be the home that you did not know that you were looking for. In NUS, there are 4 different houses: Pioneer, Helix, Lighthouse, and Valor. While each one has its own character and its own community, what they all share in common is a common purpose: to be more than just an accommodation. Houses are designed to help you find community, find support, and grow, not just as a student, but as a person as well. That thread runs through all 4 houses. Wherever you end up, you will find a community that is genuinely invested in one another and an environment that is built to help you thrive. Valor House, where I stay, carries its own distinct identity as NUS's first sports-themed hostel, which is rooted in courage, resilience, and a love for sport. But across all houses, the heart of the experience is the same: real people, real connection, and a place that feels just like yours. One of the things I really appreciate about houses is how alive they feel. There are interest groups spanning all kinds of passions, whether you're into sports, the arts, wellness, or something entirely niche. Houses give you the space and platform to pursue them. More importantly, they give you the chance to find your people, the ones to share your interests, your energy, and your late night conversations. Truthfully though, university can feel overwhelming at times, but having that community around you truly makes a bigger difference than you might expect. In Valor House, given that we are only a year old, I have watched interest groups form organically, shaped by what residents care about. Residents have the avenue to propose new groups, suggest new events, and leave their mark on what the community becomes. And this is precisely the kind of ownership that makes the experience feel genuinely yours. I have gained skills in people management, event planning, and community building that I simply could not have developed elsewhere. But beyond the practical skills, what stayed with me the most is personal growth. Learning how to lead with empathy, how to support others through challenge, and how to show up consistently for a community that is counting on you. And this isn't a lesson that any module can really teach. And that alone makes houses so special. The growth happens all around you through the friendships you form, the roles you take, and the everyday moments that quietly shape who you are becoming. Houses also give you the chance to hone your leadership skills, and this is something that I'm really grateful for through my role as a residential assistant as well as a flag director for Valor House. If you're still exploring what residential life could look like for you, I hope you'll take a closer look at what houses could offer. Okay, thanks everyone.
Hello, everyone. My name is Louis. I'm year two accounting student, and I currently stay at RC4. I've enjoyed my stay here, and I also picked up various roles, such as last year's open house vice project director, and currently being the president of RC4's College Student Committee, or CSC. And something I really like about being in committees here at RC4 is that in my year one, I didn't really have a lot of experience, but I was still able to take up the vice project director role because the seniors were so nice and they were always there to guide you and helping you out. So before coming to university, I always thought of campus housing mainly as a place to stay, and I applied for campus life as a way to avoid the daily commute to school. But after living in RC4 or Residential College 4, it has shown me that it can be so much more to that. To me, RC life is special because it's more than just having a room on campus, but also it provides so many more opportunities for people that stay on campus. So yeah, to give you an introduction to residential colleges, we differ from other housing options because we also get the choice to study courses. Actually, we have a compulsory to study courses called the UTown college program or the Ridgeview residential program if you're an RVRC. Now, a lot of people always ask the question, does this mean I have to take up extra courses compared to other people in my major? And the answer here is no. In fact, beyond taking the same amount of courses as your major, it's also replacing your general education courses. So you'll also be more likely to get into the courses with your friends that stay in RC. And these courses are smaller classes that are seminar style as well. For RC4, we have a systems thinking focus. And what it means is that we understand that the world is interconnected and recognize that to fix one issue, you have to consider various other facts that also may affect each other. At the same time, RC Life also offers opportunities that go beyond the classroom. There are college creative programs, events, and even overseas experiences that are part of the RC4 journey itself, or the RC journey itself in general. I think that is something that's really meaningful because it makes the college experience feel so much more colorful and enjoyable. And it's just not about staying on the campus for convenience. But more than anything, what stands out to me the most in RC4 for my 2 years here is the sense of community. My favorite RC memory has actually been ICG, which stands for Inter-College Games. It is a sporting event where students represent their colleges across different sports. As someone who has participated in several different sports this year, I'm not going to list them out, but it was really fun. What I loved most wasn't just the competition itself, but also the energy that I felt playing the sports and also watching all my friends compete against the other colleges as well. I still remember being the MPSH when my team won gold for Captain's Bowl this year. It was a very emotional moment for me because we didn't get gold last year. But I remember when we won, everybody, all my friends in the crowd just rushed and started cheering really hard. So it's moments like these that make the college feel incredibly alive. And they remind me that RC life is made special not just by the programs or the opportunities, but also made special by the people you experience them with and also the relationships or lifelong friends that you pick up along the way. Anyways, personally, I found residential life very fun and enriching. And at the end of my 2 year journey here, I'm happy to say that I've made so many lifelong friends here that I will hopefully be able to keep. And I'm also very grateful to have so many experiences joining and organizing events, staying up late, studying with friends, grabbing supper and everything. Trying out so many new sports, arts, and also like organizing events. So stay on campus has made my university life so much more interesting, and I hope that more people are also able to enjoy this experience.
Thank you, students, for sharing. I hope they have managed to pique your interest about the types of accommodation available and student life activities that you can look forward to at NUS. We have reached the Q&A segment, and I will hand the time over to Prof. Goh, who will be moderating the Q&A session. Prof. Goh, please.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you to Prof. Wong, Prof. Ho, Ian, Emilia, and Louis for their sharing. I think they have. I've been watching the Q&A that has been that you have posted during the webinar, and noticed that there are many questions. And I also noticed that various topics, there were a lot of emoji reactions. So I got a sense about what you are interested in. So let's work hard in the next 25 minutes and let's try to answer as many questions as we can. Now, the what we have seen here is that there is a lot of information that we have actually communicated, and about the students' journey beyond academics. So let me first ask Prof. Wong the first question for this session is that, based on students' perspectives that you have observed, what are some of the possible highlights, defining experiences or choices that shape a student's NUS journey beyond academics?
Right. So thank you, Prof. Goh, for that question. I think first and foremost, really like what Prof. Ho had mentioned, there is actually no lack of sort of out of classroom activities. And so I guess the first defining moment is really to find an interest that you have in a specific activity. Maybe you want to learn more about it, or something that you've never tried before and you've always wanted to try but never really had the chance. Well, NUS may provide you with the opportunity to do so. Or it could be an opportunity for you to sharpen an area of interest that you already have. It could be a sport, it could be an art. So for example, I think earlier on Prof. also mentioned about the competitive sort of sports that you can take part in. Yeah, and I think earlier on Luis also alluded to that, of how he took part in some of the inter-hall games as well. So find your interest that will be aligned with what you want to develop yourself, or where you want to develop yourself in. The second highlight, I think, when you go beyond the classroom and you engage in these student life activities, is really the ability to mingle and interact with friends and peers which are beyond your degree program, your course, your basically. Really, at the end of the day, that broadens your network of friends and community. And sometimes that's important, because I think some of early on, I think Ian as well as Amelia alluded to the fact that really the transition to university can sometimes be quite challenging. So you have a community of friends with you. I think that will go a very long way in supporting you. And so broadening your network of friends beyond your faculties, beyond your schools, through the engagement in these different activities is something which is very, very useful. Last but not least, I would say is this: the choice of activities that you engage in, and in fact, the range of out of classroom activities beyond the academics, will often leave very indelible and lasting memories for you. And so for many of us, I think Prof. Goh, Prof. Ho, and myself would attest to that. Even as we look back on our own university journeys, very often it's not so much what happened in the classroom, but what happens outside the classroom. And then we have such fond memories of, right? And I think this is what many of our students on this call also have kind of mentioned, that at the end of the day, when they look back, all these experiences will go a long way in making their university experience a whole lot more enriching and a whole lot more enhanced through the holistic sort of complement of academics as well as the non-academics. Yeah.
Thank you, Prof. Wong. That is really very nicely articulated. Your NUS journey, the students' NUS journey, is really a journey of a lifetime. This is really a journey about discovery, about broadening your horizons, broadening your circle of friends, and broadening your experiences. And I think Prof. Wong has already talked about choices. how do you make use of this opportunity of a lifetime in choosing what you want to explore? And talking about choices, I think that Prof. Ho and the three students, they have actually talked about the various on-campus accommodation choices like halls, houses, and residential colleges. Now, the three students have each of them talk about this, but I think some of you looking at the questions posted, they are still thinking about how do the various halls, houses, and residential colleges differ in terms of student experience and culture? I think uh, Ian, Amelia, and Louis, you have already given a broad picture, but maybe you want to go into more specific so that you will help our prospective students here or incoming students here to make a more informed decision about which one they should apply to. So I will let Ian start first, followed by Amelia, and then Louis.
All right, sure. So for hall, just like what I mentioned during the sharing itself, hall focuses a lot about like co-curriculum activities, or what we call CCAs for short. So for hall, the system works in such a way that we have a CCA point system which will determine our stay by the end of the academic year. So with that being said, hall itself, as compared to the other two types of housing models, we focuses a lot about self-development, especially when it comes to our own involvement in hall events such as the hall co-curriculum activities, as well as other hall-based events. Yeah, I think that's what sets hall apart as from the others.
Amelia? Yes.
Yeah, so personally, for me, I believe that houses sits in a nice midpoint between RCs and halls because there are characteristics from both ends. So it's a really interesting blend. So we have a lot of interest groups as well that are proposed by students, ranging anywhere from gem band to sports and even wellness interest groups such as yoga and Pilates. These are all things that are initiated by students. So there's a lot of emphasis on student voice. And there's also and the thing about interest groups is that it's not necessarily CCAs. So there's slightly less pressure to have to commit as much. Like it's really about you and what you want to do and focusing on your experience and your development so you can take charge of your experience. I think that's something that's really nice and assuring about living in a house as well. There are many student-driven initiatives and you are in charge of ensuring what you want your experience to look like and be. And I think one of the amazing parts about living in Valor House as well is that we also have our own module called VH curriculum, which I guess in a way it's kind of like RC, like we have our own module that's only open for Valor House students. And in this mod, you actually learn all about sports. I have friends who learn how to play water polo through this module and learning more about health and fitness as well. And I think this is something that's really unique and interesting. And it's a credit-bearing module as well for those who are wondering. So yeah, there's actually like a really nice like midpoint between RCs and halls. And I think and that's something that I truly enjoy about living in a house.
Thank you, Amelia. And over to you, Louis.
Yes. So for RCs, we actually also like the way we do our CCAs is a bit closer to the houses where attendance isn't so pressured and a lot of people just come and go to whatever CCA or sports or arts that they want to try. But something that I think separates something that's unique to RCs only is that we have our own modules called the U-Town program that I mentioned earlier. So these classes, they replace your GEs, so you're not taking more classes. And something I like about them is that the classes are super small. So most of the classes I am taking with people that stay in RC4 as well. So I actually know a lot of people and I'm taking classes with my friends. And beyond this is that these classes that are in your year 1 to year 2. Some of them can be during your summer, like me last year. I took a course that focused on innovation and entrepreneurship, and we also had a trip to Shenzhen as well, and it covered 4 curricular MCs for me. And also, I know a few friends that also like after they finish their class with their professor, they've gone to do further research with the professor and published research as well. So I think this is something that's really nice from RCs as well.
Thank you, Louis. I think from the sharing by Ian, Amelia, and Louis, I guess all of you actually see that we have all these different housing options. That is by design. because we don't want to have a cookie cutter kind of format. We want to give students choices, and having all these choices, of course, how to choose them? This is something that I guess some of our incoming students may have difficulty in deciding. And I think Prof. Ho just now mentioned some things about how they should choose it, but maybe let me get Prof. Ho to frame this further so that it will help to guide you as you decide what you want to stay in the next few years of your NUS journey. Over to you, Prof. Ho.
Okay. Well, I would say there's no one size fit all answer, right? It really depends on what each of you are most comfortable in that your preferred mode of living, the types of co-curricular activities that you like to engage in, or if there is a specific academic programs that you think a certain hostel can offer. I think all of this can shape your decision. And when you weigh all this together and you then pick based on what really excites you the most and then go make that choice and hopefully you get in. Yeah, that's what I would say. And I think many of you may already know students who are already in NUS. Do ask them about their own lived experiences, and maybe they can share with you additional insights that may also help to sway your decision one way or another.
Mm. And just now, when during Ian's sharing, she mentioned about the points, CCA point system in the halls. And this seems to suggest that there's a certain amount of expectation about students living in the halls or living in some of our on-campus accommodation. But to be more holistic, actually, this so-called expectation is actually helping the student to guide them towards their holistic growth to themselves personally and to the wider community. I think I'll invite Prof. Ho again to further comment on this so that this will actually give a correct perspective, an overall perspective to our incoming students.
Yeah, thank you, Prof. Go. Actually, what you just described is exactly right. The point system, which is for the halls of residence, and maybe other hostels have their own instruments for senior retention. These are all means to help students continue to be engaged within that lived community. After all, as I have mentioned in my sharing at the beginning, um, we do not see hostels simply as a place whereby students can stay and enjoy the convenience to go to their classes. It is a lot more than that. It is an opportunity for holistic development. And therefore, we want every resident who is part of the system to take full advantage of what the environment can offer. And the way to do that is to be engaged, is to be to participate actively. I do hope that students will not be too hung up about gaining enough points simply to ensure your continued stay, but to pick and choose the right activities that matches your preference and the way you want to see yourself developed. In that diverse community that you have, it is really a perfect place that you can learn important life skills such as community building, communication skills, because that's where, as you run different projects, you become that point of influence for your peers as a student leader. And when you learn from different people and you see the different challenges that different your neighbors may have, that is where you pick up understanding in terms of empathy. And also with students coming from all over the world, including exchange students that may come in for one semester or two. This is also the place where you can gain global citizenship without having to travel beyond NUS. So, but none of what I've said would happen if you decide to just use this as a place to uh to s- to have the roof over the head so that you gain convenience to go for your classes. It's a lot more than that, and I do hope that everyone will make this your focal point as you decide how you're going to spend your time in hostels.
Thank you, Prof. Ho. I couldn't agree more. And I think during the signing of the webinars, many students are very curious, how is it like as an NUS students, or how do NUS students structure, their days, and I think that this questions is best answered by one of the students. So maybe I'll let Ian share on this about how an NUS student typically will structure their days, between classes and maybe CCAs or horse activities.
Thank you, Prof. Goh. I think for most of us, I think it's safe to say that not everyone has a own unique schedule since when it comes to university, everyone has their own pursuits, whether it's academic or even beyond academic itself. But for me, how I will usually do it is I try to balance my social life and my life outside of curriculum time, as well as ensuring that I'm able to complete whatever that's assigned to me as a student. So usually how my day will go is in the morning, I'll usually have breakfast. I'll usually grab breakfast at the dining hall of our, because for us, halls of residence, we actually have compulsory meal plans. And I think that also provides us with an opportunity to be able to spend time, whether it's breakfast or dinner, to just have a conversation or get together with our friends. So usually after grabbing breakfast with my friends, I will go to my lessons and I try to focus during the lessons as much as possible. After my lessons in afternoon, I will go back to hall and rest for a while, maybe catch up with my friends as well. And for hall, one of the highlights is also that we have really a wide variety of social activities, whether it is just a small block activities that only consists of like residents from your own residential block, or it can also be a hall-wide event. And the events also ranges across different themes. It can be international theme, it can be a theme regarding a festival or even like an event that may be coming up. Let's say we used to have Christmas theme events, Valentine's Day theme event, and all of it actually really helps us to bring like people from the hall together. So usually how I will spend my evening is after I finish studying or after a quick rest, I'll go down to all the hall events that's available to have a quick chat with my friends, my neighbors, and catch up with my friends before going back to my room and finish up all my other work that's due. Yeah.
Thank you, Ian, for sharing. I guess it is a very enriching life staying on campus, and I guess some of the students are always concerned. There's so much activity, CCAs, residential life, other commitments. How do you balance the academics with the studies? And Louis, you have been very active in the RCs, and how do you balance this?
Oh, okay. So, yeah, I have taken up a lot of different roles. My biggest one last year was the Vice Project Director of Open House. And during the period close up to Open House, I was getting very busy. And some things I used to do, some methods I used to try and balance my academics and student life is number one, just to try and stay as organized as I can. I keep a calendar, one for my student life and one for my academics, one with all the deadlines and everything to make sure I keep track with everything. And another way is actually the more important thing is to make sure you just don't overcommit yourself in the first place. You should try and get a good gauge of how much time your roles are going to take up, whether that be a main committee member or a subcommittee member. And a good way of doing that is to just ask your seniors, especially when you stay on campus. You have access to so many different like people who have been in your position before, and you can just straight up ask them like, "Hey, how much time is this role going to take?" Because I feel like I might be more busy in the next semester. So, and beyond that, something personally I've noticed is that people tend to be more busy in Sem 2 compared to Sem 1. So perhaps if you want to try and take in more CCAs or activities, you can try and take up more in semester 1, if that's the case for you as well. So, and just personally, one more thing I like to do is I like to tell my friends about the roles I take, and sometimes they are able to help me as well. So just build a network of helping each other out. So sometimes I might be burnt out, and so I really just have to ask my friend to help me cover for this event or something. And I really appreciate it because I'm also willing to do it for them if they ever need help.
Thank you, Luis. I think these are very sound advice about balancing academics with activities. And I like the part about when you say that you keep track of your academic life calendar and your social life calendar. You know, this is, I guess, your accountancy training helps to do it in a very meaningful way. And of course, you know, some other students are thinking about what are the facilities and amenities that's available across the NUS campus. You know, learning spaces, cafe, dining, sports, or recreation. You know, Emilia, I'll let you share about the facilities that we have on campus.
Yeah, so the NUS has a lot of various different kinds of facilities, good study spots, places to hang out, places to study, chill, recreation, and as such. Don't know if you guys know, but NUS actually has two swimming pools that are open for all students to use. It is our very own version of a infinity pool located in U Town. So you can come at any time of the day. Sometimes when I'm having a particularly stressful exam season or submission season, I like to take a dip in the pool at 8 a.m. when it's open, and then I feel refreshed and come back to do my work. And speaking about work, we have a lot of study spots across campus. Some of my favorites includes our central library, now the law library, which used to be called Yale NUS Library. So there's a lot of different study spots. We also have like PC Common, Mac Commons, which are computer labs that you can also use to do work. We also have a lot of cafes like Chaji, for example, for all you bubble tea fans like me. Yeah. Fun fact about our Chaji is that it's the only signed store in the entire of Asia, Southeast Asia. So it also teaches students to be empathetic and learning to live alongside different communities. I think that's something that's really nice. And Yusof Ishak House, which recently opened, features a lot of spaces for students to use, to interact with others, to study, to have a good meal and whatnot. And of course, as a varsity athlete, there's a lot of sports facility available in NUS also. Beyond just the swimming pools, there are also two different gyms located at our sports center as well as in U Town, which is amazing and very convenient for you guys to use and very stocked with equipment. And some of the residences also offer their own gyms, such as Valor House. There's also a really nice part about staying on campus. For example, the gym in Valor House also caters towards varsity athletes, and we even have access to an ice bath for recovery. I think it's something that's a really huge perk and plus. Yeah, so I'll say that NUS has really world-class facilities that you guys would definitely enjoy using.
Thank you, Emily. I'm so happy to hear that we have so much facilities for our students, and our students are making good use of them. And in fact, for those of you who are into rock climbing, there's a rock climbing wall in University Town right next to my office at the Office of Admissions. So let me just highlight this. And in the interest of time, I just want to ask one final question to Prof. Wong. And that is, so far we have been talking about the student life activities or CCAs for students who stay on campus. How about for students who are not staying on campus? So how do the student life activities and CCAs differ for students who live on campus compared to those who do not? So that, because I think after all, we want to engage all our students, whether they are staying on campus or not staying on campus. Over to you, Prof. Wong.
Yeah, thank you. Indeed, I think Prof. Goh has raised a useful sort of question. So indeed, for the university, all our student life activities are open to all students, regardless of whether you live on campus or you live off campus. And I think usually what happens is that the activities are organized at timings which are both accessible as well as convenient for students, whether you live on campus or off campus, to participate in. One example, I guess, is at the Student Life Fair that Prof. Ho had mentioned about. There's an excellent opportunity for you to look around, to kind of experience the different sort of available options, and at the same time speak to the seniors, because I think just like how our three students here, Louis, Ian, as well as Amelia, have given us very useful feedback and advice. Similarly, at the Student Life Fair, you will get to hear from them, and you will also be able to get a glimpse of certain timings, and that will be useful for both students living on and off campus as well. Yeah, so definitely all our activities, out of classroom activities, are definitely geared to both students on campus, who live on campus, as well as off campus. Yeah.
Thank you, Prof. Wong, and thank you, Prof. Ho, and Ian, Amelia, and Louis. I hope that today's session will be helpful to you, and me and my colleagues warmly welcome you to NUS. And let me pass the time back to Alex to close the session. Thank you.
Thank you, professors and students, for sharing your experience, insights, and sound advice. I hope they have managed to answer your questions and clarify your doubts. With that, we have come to the end of this webinar. Thank you so much for joining us, and we hope this session has been helpful. If you have any further questions, please visit our admissions portal. You may also visit the NUS One portal and the Office of Student Affairs website for more information regarding holistic NUS education, residential, and student life matters. We will append the relevant links in the chat board for your reference. We also greatly appreciate it if you could take a few minutes to fill out a feedback form. You may scan the QR code or access the link that we have shared on the chat board. Your feedback is important to us. Please let us know how we can improve. Thank you once again. My colleagues and I look forward to warmly welcoming you to NUS. Have a great evening.